all-state games, all-star games, all-state academic teams, coaching clinics, Coach of the Year awards, accomplishment and recognition awards, and now we're building a world-class basketball museum. Located at the Wintrust Sports Complex in Bedford Park, this museum will bring Illinois basketball legacy to life in late 2025. It's happening.
Live courtside from State Farm Center in Champaign, Illinois. Clutch Sports Media providing you Class 1A state semifinal action between the Eastland Cougars out of Lanark and the Peoria Christian Chargers. Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us in the broadcast. I'm Owen Dimple alongside Wesley Stombaugh. And Wesley, this time of year, everything is better. The grass looks greener. The air is crisper, and basketball in Champaign will be played at its highest level today.
Yeah, they call it the original March Madness, and we should be in for some great basketball today. We've got a couple of small schools, this being the 1A semifinal, but a couple of communities that have really rallied around their schools. We're looking over at the student sections across from us. They're full. You know that both of these schools are really hyped to be here and supporting their teams.
Absolutely, and that's what makes it great at this 1A level. You get these small towns that really rally around their teams. They get to come play at the big arena here at the University of Illinois. And you said it, the crowd slowly still starting to fill in. We're about 8.5 from tip-off, but a lot of purple, a lot of orange. Should be a good one on the hand today.
Yeah, and head coach Tyler Zumdahl from Eastland even talked about how they had the local fire department get all the fire trucks out and have a parade for the team after they won the regional, the sectional, and after the super sectional. So there's so much support from these teams' communities, and that's something that we really see a lot from these smaller schools.
Absolutely, and so let's take a look at how both teams got here. First, for the Peoria Christian Chargers, they've had a really successful season, 28-9. They played a pretty good schedule. They wanted to schedule the best top of 1A in their non-conference schedule. They played some 2A teams as well, and that's something like a lot of 1A schools are doing, that they want to play a high level of the 2A as they get ready for the postseason, and it might bring them here to State Farm Center.
Absolutely. That's something that we talked about. You have to schedule a tough schedule during the regular season in order to prepare yourselves for the postseason, and that's exactly what both of these teams have done, and you think they've set themselves up for a lot of success because of it.
Peoria Christian, they've had wins over Seneca, Brimfield. They beat Illini Bluffs twice. And in the playoffs, they had very dominant wins. You go across the board against Putnam County, 71-29. Low Point Washburn, 85-44. They beat Brimfield again, 61-35. Illini Central, 61-30. But the biggest one was their sectional title against Princeville. They won 57-54. That was the team that they previously lost to in the regular season. So the Chargers, they've won 14 of their last 15 ball games, and that one loss was Princeville, but they avenged that in the sectional title game. Then the super sectional, they took care of Greenfield Northwestern.
Yeah, there's so much talent from these small schools across 1A, and that is exactly why you've got to schedule those games against 2A and 3A schools during your regular season, because you're not going to be ready for some of these 1A schools if you don't play a tough schedule during the regular season.
Now looking at their competitors, the Eastland Cougars out of Lanark. Lanark located near the Rockford area, and Eastland, they've had a really good season as well. 33-4 overall record. They went undefeated, 12-0 in the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference. Their wins include Chicago Hope Academy, who just won the first semifinal game of Class 1A. They will await the winner of this one for the state championship on Saturday. They also took care of Kankakee Bishop, McNamara, Rock Falls twice, including one in overtime. Some local wins against Fieldcrest. They played El Paso Gridley, lost just by 5. Also wins against Rockford Christian and Hinckley Big Rock. Their playoffs, kind of a similar thing. They established dominance with a lot of their scores, but also in their sectional title, which was played at Pecatonica, who was ranked the #1 team in Class 1A, a team that they lost to twice in the regular season, including the first matchup, 67-36. They win in that sectional title, 36-31. That score is very drastically different from the first time, and that is because Eastland got some notoriety around the state and around the surrounding states for holding the basketball for approximately 6 minutes and 59 seconds of that first quarter to try and slow that high-powered Pecatonica offense.
Yeah, that was a really interesting thing. It ended up being 1-0 after the first quarter, and that'll be something to look at in this game because Peoria Christian's a team that really likes to get out and run. Eastland is kind of the exact opposite. They're going to want to slow things down, play defense. They think defense is their biggest strong suit, so it'll be interesting to see who can play more at their pace, and that may end up being who wins this game.
And then in the super sectional for Eastland, they beat Aurora Christian 51-43. So taking a deeper dive into both teams, both the Chargers and the Cougars kind of have a big three that they rely on. You want to go over that, Wesley?
Yeah, first for Peoria Christian, it'll be Trey Brickner, Malachi Persinger, and Gavin Walder. Malachi Persinger is the all-time leading scorer at Peoria Christian. And then you got Gavin Walder. He's their second leading scorer, and he's a great shooter. He's a lefty who can get downhill, so he can pretty much, he can do everything for him. He can be a slasher, but he's also probably, he's one of the top 2 shooters on the team. Then Trey Brickner is really an underrated guy. That's something that Jason Persinger talked about. He's made over 100 3-point shots this year, and he called him a beneficiary of those other 2, Malachi Persinger and Gavin Walder, who often get double-teamed, leaving Brickner open, and he will knock down those shots for the Chargers.
You said it. Persinger, the school's all-time leading point scorer, also the all-time assist leader as well, just a do-it-all player. Walder providing that kind of 1A, 1B firepower with Persinger and Brickner. When you have 2 guys that can shoot lights out, it leaves them with the open looks, and that's a big reason why he has over the 100 3-pointers on the year. The Chargers as a team, they're a 3-point shooting team. Coming in today, 342 3-pointers on the season. That ranks 8th all-time in IHSA history for a single season.
Yeah, their 3-point shooting has been just so impressive. They can get hot in a hurry and make a really big run, really before you can blink.
Also for the Chargers, they'll be looking for contributions from Josh Walton and Miles Zimmerman. Let's switch over to the Eastland Cougars. They'll be led by their big 3, if you want to go over that, Wesley.
Yeah, Coach Zumdahl called their big 3 a 3-headed monster with Adam Allender, Peyton Spears, and Parker Croman. Allender is the point guard on this team. He's very fast. Coach Zumdahl called him lightning in a bottle. He said he's listed at 5'10", probably even a little shorter than that, but he makes up for that really with his speed. Peyton Spears is the best shooter on this team. He can create his own shot off of the bounce and also be the beneficiary of Adam Allender, the great point guard. And Parker Croman, his big strength is his size and his length. He's very athletic for his size, and he's really tough in the paint. He can also shoot the 3, so the 5 for the Chargers is going to have to come out and guard him at the 3-point line as well.
Peyton Spears, the senior point guard, likely to draw the matchup on Malachi Persinger. That should be a good one-on-one matchup later in this game. And the other 2, something that I noticed with the Cougars is the size advantage that they have against Peoria Christian. The Chargers don't have a player over the height of 6'1", and the Eastland Cougars have 5 players over 6 foot, including 6'4" and 6'3". So I think that'll be something to watch if the Cougars want to work in the paint and see if they can get easy buckets down low.
Yeah, when it comes to the style of play in this game, something's kind of got to give because for Peoria Christian, they're going to want to get out and run. They're going to want to play fast and play in the perimeter. Eastland has got better size. They like to play slower, so they want to slow it down, lock in on defense and then get it into the paint. So the team that wins this game could be the team that plays more of their style of play.
Contrasting styles battle it out here at State Farm Center for the second Class 1A state semifinal. Loser will play in the 3rd place game tomorrow morning, but both teams have their eyes set on Championship Saturday. Just underway from starting the national anthem here in Champaign, both teams on the court. We'll get starting lineups for both teams. For the Chargers, it'll be Trey Brickner, Malachi Persinger, Gavin Walder, Josh Walton, and Miles Zimmerman. For the Cougars of Eastland, Tanner Stern, Ziason Haverland, Maddox Spears, Peyton Spears, and Parker Croman. So pretty much what we expected from the preview. This game starting a little bit later than what the posted time was. The first game between Effingham and Chicago Hope Academy went a little bit longer than expected. A 56-50 Chicago Hope Academy win As the buzzer sounds, we will await the PA announcer and get our national anthem. But before we do that, I mean, Wesley, I mean, let's talk some keys to the game. What is both teams going to have to do to win this game?
It's really just going to come down to the style of play. Peoria Christian needs to get out and run because they are at a size disadvantage. You know, I think, you know, as good of a three-point shooting team as they are, you also want to get some points in the paint, and an easy way for them to do that is to get out and run and just beat Eastland down the floor. They've got a lot of speed on their team. Then for Eastland, really, I think it's the defense of Peyton Spears. Tyler Zumdahl said that he can dog the other team's point guard. And I think if he's able to do that against Persinger, they're going to have a lot of success. But it's really, I mean, this is a team that's defensive heavy. Tyler Zumdahl talked about how defense always travels. They talk about that in their locker room. Defense will travel to the State Farm Center. Is their defense as good as it's been all year?
Teams exchange handshakes before we get underway. Both crowds excited to see their team play, see if they can keep playing. I think that was something both coaches really highlighted in the media call earlier this week was, yeah, the guys know what's at stake, to continue play for a trophy, for that hardware. But really, these guys want to play for each other. They want another day to play as a team.
Absolutely. And Persinger talked about, he said this is the most selfless group of players I've ever coached. So, you know, these are groups, certainly. And then, you know, you look at the other side for Tyler Zumdahl, said that he'd never had any doubt in their summer workouts whether anyone was going to be here. So both of these coaches are coaching groups that, you know, they've loved and some of the best teams that they've had. And so, you know, these are groups that really mesh well together and, you know, that none of them want the season to be over.
They're both also groups that have gotten over a speed bump in some aspect. For the Chargers, they've been having a really good program the past few years. This is their fourth straight year with 20 or more wins on the record. They've won 6 consecutive regional titles, but they could never get over that sectional hump. And so this year, they were able to finally do it. As for Eastland, last year they were in the sectional final against Pecatonica, and they lost that game. And they vowed to be back into that game, which they got to, and they got the job done this time around.
Yeah, that was their goal, was to get back to that game against Pecatonica and win it and make it to the state finals, and they are here at the State Farm Center able to fulfill their goal.
Number 23,
once again, starting lineups going through the PA for both teams.
Oh, and we talked about the size of Eastland and maybe that being some of the reason why they want to slow things down. But another thing is they usually only have 6 or 7 players in their rotation. So if they're getting out and running at Peoria Christian's pace, they could get worn out really quickly. So they're definitely going to want to play a slower game. But
it's also a team that they only play about 6 or 7 guys. And when you already play like that, I think you have the intuition that you're going to have some gas for the full 32 minutes in this one. And so these guys are ready. I mean, I think definitely the pacing will be to Peoria Christian's advantage, but I think this team will be built to last for a 32-minute contest as well.
Yeah, and that goes back to the work ethic that Coach Zumdahl was talking about. He knows that his team, even since last summer, has been in the weight room, you know, on the treadmill, doing whatever they need to do to be in the best shape they can be in, and it'll pay off here this morning. We'll get tipped off at the State Farm Center for the semifinal in Class 1A.
Getting close to tip-off here in Champaign. Finishing up the starting lineups for the Cougars. Once again, it is Tanner Stern, Zyson Haverland, Maddox Spears, Peyton Spears, Parker Crowman. For the Chargers, Trey Brickner, Malachi Persinger, Gavin Walder, Josh Walton, Miles Zimmerman. Thank you for starting your day with us at Clutch Sports Media, listening to ClutchSportsIL.com. I'm Owen Dimple alongside Wesley Stombaugh. We'll have coverage of today's Class 1A semifinal, and also later today will be the Class 2A semifinal between Manual and Chicago Diet at 3:45 p.m. It's a lot of basketball to be played, and we're excited to get it started with this first one.
A great season for basketball. We've got high school championships, we've got conference tournaments in college basketball, and then March Madness. Call this the original March Madness. just such a great time for basketball in Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, it's just always special because for a lot of these teams, it could be their first time here. It could be the first time even attending this building.
Yeah.
Who knows if they've ever made it to a Illini basketball game, which is a great environment in itself. But to be able to play on that court just provides extra special feeling. And these guys will remember this day for the rest of their lives, win or lose. You know, it's just one of those moments. So players on the court, officials getting ready, fist bumps going around, including me and Wesley. And we are just about underway. Both student sections occupying the Orange Crush. They are excited.
Eastland's got the right colors to be in this building.
They do.
Orange and the blue.
That they do. The royal blue and the orange. Their uniforms are the full-out orange, a royal blue trim with the blue numbers, white outline. And for the Chargers, they have their all-whites with the purple numbers and the gold outline. Here we go. Croman and Walton to tip us off. Ball is up, and the first possession belongs to the Cougars. Here is Croman working it inside, down low. Shot no good. That was Haverland.
Great defense in the paint there from Haverland.
Here comes Persinger up the court, dangerous ball handler. Gives it up to Zimmerman. Now Walder with it on the right wing. Persinger backing it out, looking to reset the offense. The Cougars denying the inside. Now it goes down low to Walder. Still swinging it around the perimeter. 40 seconds into this matchup, scoreless. Persinger inside. Great move, high off the glass, could not get it in.
A nice pump fake there by Persinger, but just couldn't get the finish.
Here's a shot blocked by Persinger. Down low was Tanner Stern trying to get the buckets in transition, but Persinger had none of that. Now the inbound to Croman. His jump shot, good. Croman gets the scoring started. Now let's see what the Chargers can do. Persinger trying to lead the offense. Chargers playing with spacing. They were excited to be on the larger college court, see what their offense could do. An explosive offense as well. Here's Zimmerman. Picks up his dribble, trying to find Walton. He's in the corner. Driving in on Croman. High layup. Could not get it to go. Offensive rebound. Walton, good.
That's a big bucket there from Walton, and that's something that Coach Zumdahl talked about. They need to limit second chance opportunities for the Chargers. Couldn't there. A big bucket to tie this game.
Some debris on the court. Not sure what it is, but Parker Croman on it to pick it up and help the officials out. 2-2. Cougars and Chargers, 6:19 to go here in the first quarter in Champaign. Now we see the Chargers operating their full court press. They will do that the entire game. Allender, the ball handler, bringing it up the court on the left side. Just about lost the handle, gives it to Croman, working right. Almost lost on the handoff was Peyton Spears, one of the best all-around players on this team. A whistle on the court. And they're not going to call a basket.
Chargers basketball.
An offensive foul or stepped out of bounds.
Like
one of the
stepped
two.
out of bounds.
So turnover going to the Chargers. A little over 2 minutes into the first quarter, still 2-2 in the 1-8 semifinal. Brickner gives it up to Persinger, trying to work a pick and roll. On the left side, here's Persinger, shot rattles around the rim, no good. Here comes Stern up the court. Already we're seeing the Cougars play with some momentum, some pacing with their play. Driving inside was Spears, and a travel. One extra step is going to bite the Cougars, and so another turnover by Eastland.
And a good job by Walder stepping up there and help defense kind of surprise the ball handler and force a turnover.
Defensive pressure will be huge for both teams in this game. In a soft bounce pass, almost stolen by Allender. Persinger has it in the corner. Zimmerman driving inside, kicks it out. Persinger deep, Wing three, rolled around, no good. Both teams having a hard time establishing offense in this one. 5 minutes to play here, first quarter, 2-2. Dribbled off the foot of Croman. Zimmerman has it, gives it to Persinger. Up the court, Walder, three-point shot, blocked! Haverland had the block, but Walder, heads-up play, gets the miss and the layup.
It's a great block there from Haverland, and just kind of unfortunate for Eastland. Fell right into the Chargers' lap for a bucket.
4-2, Peoria Christian ahead. Spears gives it up to Havener, and he got hacked on the arm by either Walton or Walder. We'll see which one he'll go, and that'll be on Walton. First foul of the day belongs to Josh Walton. One of those players, he'll pick him up because he's just he's a dirty work kind of player for these Chargers.
Yeah, and a glue guy for that team.
Always need to have a player like that. Down low is Allender. Reverse layup, got the friendly bounce and in, ties it up at 4.
Really tough finish there from Allender and a lot of traffic in the paint.
Here's Persinger baseline, tried to get it to the corner with Brickner, but that was knocked away by Allender. Chargers will inbound it from their baseline. Screen set by Brickner. He's rolling around to the corner. Instead, they throw it out to Walton. Walton driving inside, kicks it out right corner. Persinger on the right wing, dribbles around, gives it to Walder. Trying to make a move on the defender. Croman defending him, knocked away by Allender. Here comes the full court. Spears, his layup, good.
The Cougars give the Chargers a little taste of their own medicine there, getting some ball pressure and then getting out in transition for an easy basket.
That's what Zumdahl said. They're not afraid to get in transition. He feels like his team is dangerous in that moment. 6-4, Eastland leads Peoria Christian. 3:34 first quarter. Persinger, nice behind the back pass. Double team, has to throw it to the corner. Zimmerman drives baseline, kicks it out. Walton with it. Tried to feed inside, knocked away by Allender again. He has active hands, driving up and down the court. Ball went flying, not sure if it got poked out. We got a whistle. We'll see what the officials say, and there'll be a foul on Gavin Walder. So that'll take us to the first TV timeout at 3:19 in the first quarter. 6-4, Eastland leading. So far, Wesley, I mean, we're seeing both teams really getting up and down the court, but it's the defenses that are forcing tough misses and getting their hands in the lane.
Yeah, that double team from the Cougars on Malachi Persinger, really hounding him and forcing him maybe into a couple of bad decisions. I think he's got to look to pass just a little bit earlier because he's had shooters, but on a couple of occasions he's been double teamed and he hasn't gotten rid of the pass soon enough, and he's allowed them to recover and get out to the shooters. So, you know, that's something that Coach Persinger talked about for the Chargers, was getting it out to those shooters who are in the double team. There's also been a bit of a lid on the basket so far for the Chargers. A few threes haven't gone down for them, but you know that those will go down, and you need to, you know, continue to kick it to your shooters and take those shots because they know what kind of shooting team they are.
Absolutely, and another thing people, not that they forget about, but sometimes they just don't realize, is when you play in big arenas like this, it's the depth awareness.
Yeah.
Most of these guys, especially at the 1A level, don't play in large arenas like State Farm Center. So when you're taking those three-point shots, it's not the same as you are in your normal home gym.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Final Four when they play in a football stadium and it just looks wonky and the shooters tend to come out cold. Could be definitely the same thing you talked about. These are 1A schools. They're not generally playing in huge stadiums, but it's an adjustment that we expect the Chargers to be able to make in this game.
Yeah, definitely both teams are capable of adjusting. I feel like most of their games this year, good teams just find ways to adjust and find ways to win, and both these teams have won a lot of games this year. Out of the timeout here at State Farm Center as Adam Owender is at the free throw line. He's had a great start to this game. 2 points, forcing turnovers, gets the friendly bounce on the first free throw. Allender, a 51% free throw shooter, averages 15 points per game, a leader for the Cougars, and he goes 2 for 2 at the charity stripe. Eastland up by 4. A little over 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Zimmerman, right wing, gives it up to Walder, top of the key, guarded by Croman. Persinger in the right. His three-point shot, no good, missed it left, and we'll get a foul underneath. Josh Walton tried going for the offensive board and was pushed.
Yeah, Haverland just kind of extending his arm and pushing Josh Walton out of the way. Good call there by the official. The Chargers will keep it.
You'll have that. I mean, today, both teams, all players, they're leaving it all out on the court. And I'm really excited to see how the physicality will grow in this game between two teams of this caliber. Walder takes the inbound, gives it up to Persinger, takes it inside, knocked away. Haverland got a hand on that one in transition. Here comes Allender, gives it up to Croman, knocked away. It'll stay with the Cougars. I believe maybe Walton caught up to Croman on the other side to knock it away.
What a block that was from Haverland. He really got up.
I mean, both defenses did a great job. The block on Persinger, and then for Walton to get back in a hurry, hustle down the court, and stop the fast break layup. So now the Cougars will reset. Here's Allender calling out a play. Guarded by Walton. Jacob Walton, that is. Now Josh Walton, he knocks it away. Tried to feed it inside to Croman, gives it up Brickner. Inside, dishes it around to Jacob Walton. Double team, kicked out, swung around. Persinger, Walder thought about the three and gives it up to Persinger. Cougars just doing a great job closing in on Peoria Christian's most dangerous shooters. Here's Brickner from the corner. He got a look, missed it off the rim. Offensive rebound, Peoria Christian. Walder got the first three-point basket.
There's a three there for the Chargers, something they're going to need to start hitting. And just a big shot, some second chance points there for the Chargers. That's something that Eastland wanted to limit.
Gavin Walder, 5 of the 7 points for the Chargers. 1:48 here, first quarter, 8-7. Nice layup by Allender. He's done a really nice reverse layup underneath the basket.
Yeah, he's been huge here for the Cougars early in this game.
Walder, he'll try another three. Got it. Gavin Walder heating up. Ties this game up at 10. Gavin Walder, the lefty, has been a great shooter all season long.
This Peoria Christian team can get hot in a hurry. They can be an inferno before you know it.
Allender trying to set up the offense, gets the screen from Haverland. Now Croman, top of the key, dribbles down, free throw line extended. Allender takes the shot, he knocks it down, a three-pointer of his own.
What a start here from Allender.
Allender, one of the big three for the Chargers. Speaking of big three, Walder could not get it to go.
That was a bit of a heat check there from Walder. I'm not sure that was a great shot. It was pretty contested on the perimeter.
But as his coach, Jason Persinger, said in the media call, him and the other two, they just have the green light at all times to let it fly because he has that much confidence in them. Corner three, no good. Rebounded by Walton. That was Braden Anderson on the miss. 25 seconds here in the first quarter. Nice feed underneath. Walton. Walder.
Really nice stretch here from Walder and a great pass inside for the bucket from Walton.
1 point lead for the Cougars. Down to 10 seconds. We'll see if Eastland holds for final shot. Haverland from the wing. Spears. Clock dwindling. Ball's on the ground. 1 second. Top of the key. Ooh, rimmed in and out. He thought he was going to have that one. But after 1 quarter of play here in Champaign, it's Eastland leading Peoria Christian 13-12. Some great first quarter action by both teams.
Yeah, just really competitive game early on. Peoria Christian was struggling on the offensive end early in the first quarter. That Eastland defense really hounding Malachi Persinger and not allowing him to to get going, and they were struggling because those shooters were not knocking down the shots for the perimeter, but they're late in the first quarter. They started to make some shots, and that's what really got their offense going. But a really tightly contested game, and after a quarter, looks like we should be in for a good one today, Owen.
Absolutely, and we'll take a quick step aside for a message.
High school sports don't just happen.
That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank
together
for
with the
a lot of it.
IHSA,
Thank
the
you.
333,000
so I can
high school
always
sports
play
and
the game
performing
I
arts
love.
students
For
in
ordering
Illinois.
quality athletic
And so
equipment,
we stand.
so I can stay
We
safe
stand for
on the
the
field.
runners,
For
debate
mentoring my
team
coaches
members, and
so they
basketball
can be the
players.
best role models
we
for
stand
me.
for their
For
coaches,
coordinating transportation,
officials, and
so I can get
adjudicators.
focused
We
for the
stand for
big
the
game.
drummers,
For helping us
football
develop
players,
character
and actors.
and learn lessons
we
that will
stand
benefit
for the
us for the
golfers,
rest of our
singers,
lives.
and
Thank
swimmers.
you to our
we
AD
stand as the
for
national
always
leader and
creating a
advocate for
positive
these essential
experience for
activities
us.
and all who
We'll
participate
never
in them
forget
and make them possible.
From all of
because
us at
it is
the
our purpose to
NIAAA,
ensure
thank you to
that high
every
school
athletic
students get
administrator
to
in
play,
Illinois for all you
perform,
do to
and
enrich the lives of
compete
your
together.
students. It does
To
not
learn
go
more about
unnoticed.
who we are
This
and what we
message
stand
presented by
for
the
is at
NIAAA, the National Interscholastic
NFHS.org.
Athletic Administrators Association.
And welcome back to our live coverage from State Farm Center. You're listening to ClutchSportsIL.com. Owen Dimple, Wesley Stombaugh. Sorry about the commercial break with the wrong graphics of Washington and their opponent from their sectional game. We have the right score here as we're about ready to start the second quarter with Eastland leading 13-12. And in that first quarter, we saw really two players lead their teams, and that was Walder and Allender.
Yeah, huge game from Allender. Talked about Peyton Spears and the defense from him, but Allender was huge on the defensive end, and then he went 3 for 3 on the offensive end for 9 points. He got to the line, had a couple of free throws, so he was huge in that first quarter. And then a couple of big threes from Walder for Peoria Christian that really got their offense going.
Second quarter underway with the Chargers starting with the basketball. Persinger gives it up to Brickner. Brickner held scoreless, and Persinger scoreless in that first quarter as well. Something to keep an eye on as we watch Eastland's defense just hound on these Chargers. Persinger top the key at the free throw line. Spins around, has nowhere to go with it. Back out to Walder, top of the key. Works it inside on the left. Jacob Walton back to Persinger. 30 seconds in. And almost, they will call a travel. Not sure if they're going to call a travel or a bump, Wesley.
Yeah, it could have been either one there. Persinger kind of running into the double team, but it looked like the defender was also kind of positioned sideways, but they get him for the travel.
I think what helped was the defender was stationary. He wasn't moving his feet, so really it was just Persinger just tripped over the foot, and now a turnover for the Chargers. Here's Eastland working the ball around. Haverland on the perimeter, gives it up to Stern. Croman on the right side, working on Walton. Haverland top of the key now. Trying to go inside. Here is Croman. Double team, goes around left, off the glass, good.
What a tough finish for Croman. When he started to jump, he was facing away from the basket, kind of jumped in the air and did a little 180, turned around and got the bucket to go.
That's the first time we've seen the size advantage work in Eastland's favor. 15-12, Cougars lead. 6:40 to go here, second quarter. Jacob Walton gives it up to Walder on the right corner. Inside Josh Walton. The floater by Jacob Walton, no good. He got the offensive rebound, and the second time was hacked.
See who they got that foul on. It was Easton Haverland. There was no need. He kind of swatted down and got Walton on the arm, but he's got a 7-inch advantage over Jacob Walton. There's no need for him to, swipe down like that. If he stays vertical, he likely gets a clean block there.
Jacob Walton not good on the first free throw attempt. He's a 45% free throw shooter on the year. Averages 2.8 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, and reserve role off the bench. Lines up the second of 2 free throw attempts. Misses that one short. Rebound by Eastland. So a empty possession by the Chargers up the court, and a foul on Croman's shot attempt.
Look, they called it on the floor. Josh Walton giving him a shove just before he went up for the layup.
Both teams really just trying to establish that quick transition game. I feel like Eastland's done a better job at it than Peoria Christian. Here's a nice feed inside, Stern. Nice inbound play by Eastland, set up a wide open, easy shot for Tanner Stern, the senior guard. Eastland now working with a 5-point lead, knocked away in front of us. Allender, once again, active hands just going all over the place while guarding Trey Brickner.
Yeah, he's been so huge on the defensive end, and that'll be a big thing. If he is hounding Peoria Christian just as much as Peyton Spears is, it's going to be a tough day offensively for the Chargers.
Peoria Christian still has the basketball. Here's Miles Zimmerman on the right wing. Gets the screen from Gama. Walder, left side, trying to drive baseline, and is walled up by Croman. Still on him. Brickner now on the right side with it. He goes up hard, got the basket, and oh no, it was an offensive foul. The official looked like he was going to put the finger down for the and one, but we're going the other way.
Yeah, kind of a weird looking call, but I think it was the right one. Tried to just kind of go right through the defender there. A good job staying vertical and getting the offensive foul.
Brickner just a little too aggressive on that take to the rim. It remains 17-12 Eastland, 5:43 here, second quarter at State Farm Center. Allender bringing up the ball, and he was held by Zimmerman. He wanted a travel, but really looked like Zimmerman gave him a big old hug.
Yeah, that was definitely a foul. It was right in front of one official. It ended up being the official across the floor who made the call, but Zimmerman went up to him and kind of gave him a hug. That's definitely a foul.
And knocked away on the inbounds. I believe it'll stay with Eastland, and it will. So the Cougars will inbound the ball. Here's Stern on the left wing. Guarded by Persinger. Works his way around the top of the key. Here's Allender inside at the free throw line. Lost the ball. Still loose. Picks it up near half court. Spears with it now. Trying to set up a one-on-one on Brickner. Take to the rim. Got it. Peyton Spears. No love lost at the rim right there. We get a whistle on the other side of the court.
Persinger was really doing a good job of getting downhill, and all Spears could do was foul him to stop him.
Peyton Spears up to 4 points. Allender still leading with 9 for the Cougars. Persinger trying to establish any sort of offense. Goes inside, gives it up to Zimmerman. Now it's Brickner driving inside at the Big Ten logo. Gamma picked up his dribble, almost lost it. Cougars doing a good job of collapsing inside the paint. No look pass, Persinger to Gama. And Gama and Persinger just going back and forth. Now it's Persinger's three-point shot, a little bit rushed. Not the shot that he wants to take.
Yeah, Persinger really settled there. There's no shot clock yet in high school basketball, and they weren't getting much going on that possession, but you can still get back into your set. No need to just throw up a three there.
Persinger, not the best start today. 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from behind the three-point line. There's a foul. That'll go on Drew Gama as Spears hit the deck. 4:26 here in the second quarter. 7-point Cougar lead. Allender feeds down low. Croman turnaround right over the top of Walder.
Decent defense there by Walder in the paint, but just didn't have the size advantage, and Croman able to hit it right over him.
Peoria Christian halfway through the second quarter, they're still scoreless. Down low, Zimmerman tried to work through, and he took an extra step. Another turnover by the Chargers.
Zimmerman tried to kind of lean forward to put his body in the defender to create some space, but Tanner Stern had kind of backed up off of him, so he almost had to let go of his pivot foot in order to get to Stern to put his body into him, and he lost his pivot foot and gets called for the travel.
Eastland starting the second quarter on an 8-0 run. They have the basketball once again, 4 minutes here at the second quarter. Croman on the right side with the wing, guarded by Walder. They'll swing it around the perimeter, down low to Croman again, and a foul, a push on Gavin Walder. And that's the 5th foul on Peoria Christian here in the second quarter, so the Cougars will be shooting free throws for the rest of the half. And since we're at the 3:51 mark, that'll take us to another TV timeout. We'll step aside for another break.
It's time for the Whipple's Bag Shuffle. Keep your eyes on the video board and follow the Whipple's seat bag as it moves around.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Illinois, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Welcome back as Parker Croman of Eastland is shooting free throws. His first one is up and good.
We're just about halfway through the second quarter, and the Cougars already in the bonus. I think that's kind of their size playing to their advantage. Peoria Christian has committed a few fouls just trying to battle with them near the paint.
Croman 2 for 2 on the free throw trip. It's now up to an 11-point Eastland lead. They've outscored the Chargers 10-0 here in the second quarter. Persinger tried to feed it down low to Walton, saves it from going out of bounds. Gamma on the sideline, could not keep the basketball, but Brickner found it and got bumped, and he'll get 2 free throw opportunities.
I think the Chargers trying to force the issue a little bit too much here. They're running into a lot of double teams. They do a better job, of playing off of 2 feet and looking to pass. Sometimes they kind of put their head down and decide what they're going to do, but I think that they'd have a little more success taking what the defense gives them here.
Brickner knocks down the first free throw. And the second free throw is up and good. So the Chargers get their first points of the second quarter. Full court press once again by the Chargers. They routinely do that. Inside Croman, turnaround jumper. That was smooth as butter. Now Persinger on the wing. Tried to feed it down low to Jacob Walton. Knocked away, turned over.
Good defense there by Stern, taking away the back cut.
Three-pointer by Spears, left it short, off the front of the rim. Rebound by Walton. Here comes Zimmerman, right side of the court. Gives it to Persinger. He's in the left corner, working on Spears. Working his way all the way around, left to right. Now it's Gama. Inside, knocked it away. Zimmerman right there to grab it. Turnovers have been an issue for the Chargers. And an offensive foul going against Trey Brickner, his second one of the first half.
And that personal foul trouble now becoming an issue for the Chargers. 2 on him. And it was 2, I believe, on Walder. Or no, don't have 2 on anybody else. Might have been looking at the wrong stat category.
In transition, once again, knocked away. Stern wanted the foul, could not get it. Clock down to 2:24. Persinger up the court. Zimmerman, three-point shot. Left it short. High rebound. Spears coming down the court. Allender, left, got it.
How huge has Allender been in this game? He gets out in transition once again, gets the pass and the easy layup.
So quick for the Cougars. 13-point Cougar lead, and Persinger wants a timeout as the Eastland faithful, they're excited watching their team just fly on the court. 2:01 here in the second quarter.
UT Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
So far, just a lot of good basketball, but Peoria Christian, I think, playing a little uncharacteristic today. I mean, they're 2 for 12 from three-point range, usually dominant in that category, 5 for 17 overall.
Yeah, the Chargers have just been cold offensively in this second quarter. They've only got 2 points, being outscored 13-2 in the second quarter. There's only 1 point deficit after the first quarter, but now it's a 13-point deficit. Those threes aren't falling. They've had a lot of turnovers. That's, kind of a marquee part of Eastland's game is their hounding defense, and it has really come to play here tonight, or this afternoon.
7 turnovers for Peoria Christian to Eastland's 4. And with those 7 turnovers, it's created 10 points for Eastland. Big reason why they've extended them into a 13-point advantage. Still waiting to resume play as Miles Zimmerman's on the bench, getting wrapped up for a finger. Maybe jammed it or a slight cut.
Must have been some blood because it looked like the official was telling him to go back to the bench and get that wrapped up before we resume play.
He's all good. He's back on the court, ready to go. And so are we. 2:01 here in the second quarter. Chargers with the basketball. Zimmerman on the left wing has to bounce pass back to Persinger near the big eye at center court. Double teamed, faced. Persinger still just trying to get anything, no separation. Now Zimmerman drives baseline, finds Walton underneath, great basket.
Good find. That's what the Chargers need to do is make those passes, and a great pass from Miles Zimmerman. He drew the double team and then found Jacob Walton open underneath.
That was huge coming out of the timeout for the Chargers to get a basket. Now Peyton Spears gives it up to Adam Allender. 1:25 here remaining in the first half. Allender steps back, guarded by Persinger. Gives it to Spears, he'll drive in, right block, kicks it out. Allender thought about the three, hesitation, now inside, gives it to Crowman, kicks it out. Peyton Spears back with the basketball. Working around, here's the three-point shot. Anderson got it! Braden Anderson knocks down the triple.
Anderson just got left wide open and did not waste the opportunity.
And another player control foul going against the Chargers. Persinger drove to the lane, wasn't going to take the basket. He was kicking it out to the open Zimmerman in the corner.
Something you see a lot. A player looks to make a pass and kind of looks away from where they're going, and he runs just right into the defender.
It's been a frustrating start for Persinger. 3 turnovers and 0 for 6 shooting. 45 seconds remaining in the first half. A 14-point balloon for Eastland. They're in no rush to get a basket. Peyton Spears tossing back and forth with Allender. They're waiting for directions from Coach Zumdahl. Down to 20 seconds. Zimmerman trying to apply some pressure. Peyton Spears still going back and forth with Allender. Clock down to 15. Cougars will be looking to go soon. 10 seconds. Now they roll. Allender, top of the key. His jump shot, no good. Fighting for the rebound, Gavin Walder pulling it up. 1 second, no good. Missed the backboard as a whole. So the first half comes to an end here at State Farm Center with Eastland leading Peoria Christian 30-16.
Well, I think the biggest story, Coach Zumdahl said defense travels, and his defense came to play today. Only 16 points for Peoria Christian in the first half, and I think the biggest part of that, Malachi Persinger, the all-time leading scorer in school history, has 0. Also 0 for Zimmerman and Gama. So, a couple big baskets from Walder. He's got 8. and then 4 from Jacob Walton, but just not a lot of distribution across that lineup, and their best player hasn't scored yet.
I mean, you bring up very good points, Wesley. The defense travels comment from the Cougars' lead man, and he's right. I mean, if you have a solid defensive foundation, you can play anywhere against anyone, and they're doing that right now, especially against a high-powered Chargers offense. And it's really difficult to, win a game, let alone just lead at the halftime break when your top scorer in program history was held scoreless.
Yeah, they came into this game thinking that they were going to get a big game out of Malachi Persinger, and he could certainly really turn it on in the second half, but that was the story in the first half, was just his inability to score for them. Then you look at Eastland, their stars have been, the ones who, it's been the guys who you would have expected. Adam Allender has 11, and Parker Croman has 10. That is a majority of their scoring. 3 for Anderson, 4 for Spears, and 2 for Stern. So those are the guys making contributions, but really Allender and Croman getting it done on the offensive end, with combining for 21 in the first half.
I think the only surprise maybe would be Spears only having 4 points.
Yep.
He was one of the most efficient shooters for the Cougars, especially as a three-point shooter. Just 4 points, but he's 2 for 4 from the field. However, he also has 3 assists, so while he's not scoring, he's setting up scores for his teammates.
Yeah, and those assists are huge. Coach Zumdahl talked about how their assist-to-turnover ratio has gotten better as the season has gone on, and they've been able to have more success when they've taken care of the ball more and been good passers. And Spears has really left his mark on this game on the defensive end also. Talked about shutting down Malachi Persinger. We knew that he was going to be the one to get that really tough assignment, and boy, has he stood up to the challenge here in this game.
His coach called him one of the best on-ball defenders in the entire state.
And it's hard to argue with him, in the performance that he put up in that first half.
He's certainly backing it up, holding Persinger to 0. Let's go through some of the first half stats as we're at the halftime break with Eastland leading 30-16. Eastland shooting 63% from the field. That's always a recipe for success, 12 of 19, compared to Peoria Christian's 33%. Peoria Christian also just 2 of 12 from behind the arc, a category, as we said, came in today 342 three-pointers on the season. That was ranking top 10 in IHSA history. The 8 turnovers have been a difference maker for the Chargers as well, and has led to 10 points for the Cougars.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Wesley.
We talked about, how defense travels. For Peoria Christian, their strong suit is shooting, and that's kind of the opposite, where shooting can be hot and cold, so maybe that's an advantage for Eastland in this game.
Rebounding is similar. Both teams with 9 rebounds each. Four offensive rebounds going to the Chargers, and that's allowed 7 second chance points. So that could be even more different game had they not been able to get those second chance points.
Yeah, that's a positive takeaway for Peoria Christian in the first half, that they were even in the rebound battle. We talked about Eastland really having the size advantage with a 6'4" Croman there in the paint, but they stuck right with them and had the 4 offensive rebounds. Coach Zumdahl wanted them to limit second chance opportunities. You had the one play I know in the first half where Peoria Christian was able to get an offensive rebound, kicked it out to Walder, and he hit a 3. So that's something, if you're not hitting shots, you got to go chase it and get those offensive rebounds.
The points in the paint discrepancy, 18 for the Cougars, only 8 for the Chargers, and I think a lot of that has to do with the quick transition stemming from turnovers created by really Adam Allender.
Exactly. Allender has been huge. He's leading the team in scoring, but it's really also been defensively and in transition. We saw both cases. We saw him be the guy getting out in transition, getting the outlet pass, getting the bucket. We also saw him on the defensive end being the guy who got the steal and made the outlet pass. So he's been huge in both of those respects. But coming into this game, we knew Peoria Christian likes to play in transition, and we thought, that'd be an area where they had the advantage, but it's really been Eastland who has played really well in transition. And yeah, they've had, Croman's had a couple of really tough turnaround shots in the paint, a couple of layups, but a lot of their points in the paint have just been off of turnovers, getting easy layups in transition.
And lastly, the assist category. I mean, we talked about Eastland's, all their assists. led by Peyton Spears with 3. They have 9 total, so really spreading the wealth between them and the Chargers with just 4. Overall, I mean, it was a first half dominated by Eastland. They led for 12 minutes of the total 16. It was a decent start for Peoria Christian. They got out to a 4-2 lead, but then ever since then, it was entirely Cougar basketball.
Yeah, you really see this Peoria Christian team just really relies on the shooting, because early in the game, shots weren't going down. Then toward the end of the first quarter, they made a couple. It was a couple of threes from Walder, and they got right back into the game, and it was only a 1-point game at the end of the quarter. Then in the second quarter, I don't believe they made any threes. So, you know, that's where they saw the lead balloon for Eastland.
In the second quarter, it was Croman that really took over. He had 8 points added just in that quarter alone, as Allwinder had the first quarter with 9. So once again, it is 30-16, Eastland leading at the half. We'll take a quick break and be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to ClutchSportsIL.com.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back to halftime at State Farm Center for the Class 1A state semifinal between Eastland and Peoria Christian. And while we're at the break, want to take a quick time to introduce you to, well, not really introduce you, but our first billboard for CSM Overtime. Don't forget, I mean, a lot of good stuff with your subscription on there. You can get game recaps, feature stories, and daily roundups. We cover everything from basketball, football, and really upcoming baseball and softball. I know, not sure if you're writing any previews this upcoming spring, but I will be for Overtime, Wesley.
Yeah, I'm not writing any previews, but just really excited for that baseball season. Have a lot of teams, throughout the area who look like they could be poised to make a run. and very excited to get covering those spring sports after we finish our coverage of these IHSA state finals for basketball.
So once again, go get your CSM Overtime subscription today to learn more all about Central Illinois sports. And we talked briefly about the first half. First half that was dominated by the Cougars. You know, Wesley, what is going to be something that both teams are going to need to adjust to in the second half?
Well, for Peoria Christian, it's the shooting. They didn't shoot. I mean, they had 2 threes. They're from Waldorf and none from anybody else. They're going to need to make threes. I think if you're Eastland, they're doing about everything that they could do right. I think they just need to kind of continue to do what they've done on the defensive end, getting after Persinger. That's one thing that, you know, is something to watch for them. Persinger can get hot in a hurry. And I know that he went silent in the first half, but, you know, they've got to make sure that they continue to double him, continue to get the ball out of his hands, or he could go off in a hurry. So continuing that pressure on the defensive end, and then continue to get out in transition and get those easy baskets like they were in the first half.
And for Persinger, it's got to be hard to pinpoint a time this season that he has faced pressure to that extent in the first half.
Yeah, you know all of their opponents this year. They've looked at the scouting report and they know how good he is, how many he can score, and have, you know, probably sent double teams, tried to get the ball out of his hand. But they really haven't, you know, faced a defense like this. This defense, I mean, has hounded him, I think, like no other defense has in their entire season. Peyton Spears and Adam Allender just, you know, they've got length and they've got quickness, and they made it really tough on him. So adjusting to that, and you know that's something that Coach Persinger was talking about at halftime, was how can he still score, you know, through the pressure, and also how he can find his teammates when they send a double. You know you're playing 4-on-3 the rest of the way.
Try any way to create space for your star point guard, and you know Gavin Walder, he went on a little run right there. He had back-to-back three-pointers. Looked like he was going to start heating up and maybe take over for this Charger offense, and then it went back to cold after that. Yeah,
and another thing for Trey Brickner, we talked about him as being a really underrated part of this team, a guy who's made over 100 threes in the season. You know, they're going to need to be able to kick it to him and have him knock down threes also. And I think if the shots start going down for some of those guys around him, it's really going to help Persinger be able to get his own shots.
Absolutely, and we're a minute away from resuming play for the second half here at State Farm Center, and it's been a great day of basketball thus far. Chicago Hope Academy took the opening game 56-50 over Effingham. This is currently game number 2, but there is still plenty of basketball on the docket after this one. 2A semifinals, including Manuel's game at 3:45. We will have live coverage on ClutchSportsIL.com once again, like we are for this game. And then later tonight in the 3A, some really good teams as well. Chicago DePaul Prep is back here again, playing Chatham Glenwood, and we watched Chicago DePaul Prep. They were the team that played Richwoods in the semifinal last year, so that's a fine program. But 10 seconds away, and we will have basketball once again on this court. I mean, it's a beautiful court too, Wesley. This is one of my favorites, really. I mean, we're both from the Midwest, you know, so it's Big Ten country, and absolutely. I'm from Wisconsin, so of course I'm a Badger fan, but I got to respect this court. This is a beautiful arena.
Yeah, the court and the entire stadium, I just think it's a really aesthetic stadium. The orange and the blue go so well together, and the kind of white-ish court with the outline of the state of Illinois around the eye at center court.
And it'll be the Cougars starting with the basketball here in the second half with a 14-point lead that was really enlarged in the second quarter. That feed down low, knocked away right off the bat. Chargers forcing a turnover.
Yeah, that's a good start for them. They really were not forcing turnovers in the first half, but good defense there from Josh Walton to start the second half.
It's all about starting fast. I feel like if the Chargers can open up in the first couple minutes of this third quarter, it could go a long way in building a momentum for a comeback. Not down and out by any means. This is a very good team. Here's Brickner working around. Zimmerman in the corner, gives it up to Walton on the right wing. Back to Zimmerman, works his way in the paint. Nice layup, got it, Zimmerman.
Nice take by Miles Zimmerman, just beat the defender off of the bounce, gets the left-handed layup to go.
So a turnover forced and a nice basket by Miles Zimmerman. It's all about putting plays together to create sequences. That was poked away by Brickner, and hitting the deck was Persinger for the jump ball. Possession will go to Peoria Christian. So we said it, you know, it was going to have to take a great start, and so far they're putting plays together.
Yeah, and Malachi Persinger was on the receiving end of a lot of that really tough defense in the first half, but he's getting in on it himself. He was the defender on that play, forcing the turnover there as he gets the jump ball.
2 turnovers for the Cougars to begin the third quarter. It's still a 12-point advantage. Walder just about lost it, trying to give it to Persinger. One-on-one with Peyton Spears. Now it's Zimmerman, top of the key, guarded by Stern. He's working again with Persinger, trying to find any space. No look pass, Zimmerman wide open in the corner, missed everything, too much on it, and poked away by Peyton Spears, so the Chargers will still have the basketball, but that was a great look for Zimmerman.
Yeah, good look, and even though they couldn't get it to go, just good offense there from Peoria Christian, and the retained possession. Another chance for them to get points on the board in this possession.
Could have been a big moment for Miles Zimmerman. He had the opening layup, and if he would have had that three-pointer, I think that would have really ignited the Chargers fans. Nice take, and Persinger finally on the board.
What a take there for Persinger. He was double-teamed, but he was determined to get to the rim, and he did. Really tough finish.
Full court pressure once again, and Zimmerman almost created another turnover, but not sure who the Eastland player was, threw it off his body and out of bounds.
It was Allender. Could have been a huge, point in this game if they had gotten the turnover and gotten the ball right back. So here comes Eastland.
Here comes Eastland, and Allender gives it up to Haverland. Now Allender, his three-pointer, no good. Walder with the rock, pushing it up court, Zimmerman on the left wing. They'll settle into their offensive set. Walder with it near half court. Working inside, drives in on the paint. Not sure if he just missed everything or if that was partially blocked by Haverland. Ball still on the ground, going for it is Walton, the glue guy, setting up an open look for Trey Brickner, no good.
That one hit every part of the rim but couldn't go down.
Some good looks by the Chargers, couldn't get it to fall. And on the other way, it was Croman that tried to feed it inside, but it was a kick ball, so going out of bounds. So Eastland wants a timeout. I mean, I feel like they're trying to find their footing once again here in the second half.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler Zumdahl has liked what he's seen from his team coming out in this third quarter. Hasn't scored yet, giving up a couple of buckets, and I think that the Chargers really getting it after it on the defensive end has kind of ignited their offense.
You know, it's a game of runs. It's a game of momentum, and right now it feels like momentum is starting to build for Peoria Christian. And Tyler Zumdahl, he was sensing that with that timeout. He wanted to make sure his guys under control. And I think in that timeout, he's kind of reminding them, like, hey, you guys, you performed so well in that first half. Just calm down and you do you, and you guys are going to be okay.
Yeah, only a 4-0 run, but it could easily have been a 10-0 run. A couple of missed open looks from three from Peoria Christian also.
Inbounds underneath goes to Croman, guarded by Walton. That was an easy basket for Croman. Now the other way, a shot for the Chargers is good.
Tough step back three there from Malachi Persinger.
Persinger still trying to make an impact in this game. It's not too late. He's got 5 quick ones here in the first 3 minutes of the third quarter. Just a 9-point Eastland lead, led by as many as 14. Allender got an open look, missed it, pulled down by Persinger. Here come the Chargers, guarded by Haverland. Persinger inside, tried to go Euro step, blocked by Haverland. It'll stay with the Chargers. 4:51 on the clock here in the third quarter. Still waiting to resume play. Not sure if something's up with Peyton Spears. He's getting checked out by an athletic trainer. Might have A little bit of blood on him. Make sure that he's all cleaned up and ready to go.
Gonna have to take Spears out here. Couldn't get it cleaned up in time.
Yeah, definitely just want to keep things going. I mean, we saw it in the first game. I mean, it went well over the projected starting time for the second game. You don't want that to eat into the other sessions later. So Chargers will inbound it underneath their own basket. Throws it up to Persinger on the right wing, guarded by Croman. Kicks it out, Trey Brickner, his wing shot, no good. Brickner, another Charger struggling to find anything. Quick pass up the court. I think the fans wanted to travel on Braden Anderson, but instead he found a Cougar underneath for the basket.
Not sure of the travel. Anderson took a few steps, but he was kind of bobbling the ball at first, so I don't think he really had possession of it.
Brickner takes it inside. What a tough take. And he got the layup.
Haverland wanted to swat that, but a good take by Brickner and gets it to go.
Haverland's been a defensive pest in the paint. Now Zimmerman, he got it back. Missed the shot. Don't know if that one was blocked too. Ball still on the ground fighting for it. Here's Croman with it. Now Braden Anderson up the court. 3:59 here in the third quarter. Croman on the right side, guarded, spin move on Walton.
Nice job by Croman using his body. Got the defender Walton kind of to his left side, spun back to his right side and gets to the rim.
He noticed the weight shift that Walton had on his feet, and he just used that to his advantage to spin around him and get the two. Croman will pick up another foul. And at 3:44, that'll take us to yet another TV timeout here at State Farm Center with the Cougars up on the Chargers by 11. We'll step aside for a quick break. You're listening to ClutchSportsIL.com.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Illinois. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
And welcome back to the third quarter at State Farm Center between the Chargers and the Cougars. Quickly back in action is Persinger with a three. Persinger coming alive here in the third quarter.
What a second half it's been so far for Persinger, and that's something about your star players. The guy who has the most points in school history, he can have, a rough start to a game, but he can also turn it on when he needs to and, shine when the lights are the brightest.
Cuts the lead to 8. The Chargers are just slowly clawing their way back into this one. Here's Allender up the court as the ball handler, guarded heavily by Zimmerman at the Big Ten logo, gives it up to Haverland. Allender wants Croman down low, guarded by Walton. Croman just using his size over Walton. Now Peyton Spears on the left side, drives low, picks up his dribble, spins around, gives it up to Croman. Jump shot, good. Parker Croman's mid-range game has been on display today.
Yeah, he really uses his size advantage. He gets up and kind of shoots it from the apex, and nobody from this Peoria Christian team can really block him.
Back up to a 10-point Cougar lead. 2:30 to play in the third quarter. Persinger, quick trigger, rolled around, no good. Almost had the three-pointer. Now picking up Sears on the transition. Kicks it out, Croman, top of the key. Spears wants it on the left wing. He'll back it out and reset his offense, trying to get the set that they want. One-on-one with Brickner. Nice cut inside, Allender.
Great movement without the ball, and Allender is rewarded with a bucket.
Persinger the other way. Struggles to kick it out to Walder, but he got it. Working around Croman. Now back out to Persinger. And Persinger just took an extra step and another turnover. So that's the first turnover of the third quarter for the Chargers, something that they had 8 of in that first half.
Yeah, the Chargers have looked better in this half. There's still a 12-point deficit after a little run here from Eastland, but I think you like what you're seeing if you're Coach Persinger. I think you have more success if you do what you've been doing so far in this third quarter.
They're showing fight, and that's all you can ask for, fight and effort from your team. 1:45 here in the third quarter. Zimmerman got lost from Allender, floats it up to Croman underneath, gets a second offensive rebound, and the third time was good.
Croman having a hard time to get it down, but he just got such a size advantage over all of those Chargers and able to continue to get his offensive rebound until he got it to go.
Croman dominating this game with 18 points. He's the leader. We'll get a block on Allender as he tried guarding Persinger. I believe they're going to say, yep, he got the basket.
Persinger with a really nice crossover on Zais, and Haverland on the perimeter got by him and got to the rim. And then a good, tough finish. Persinger's now got 10 here in the second half.
Really, in just these 6.5 minutes.
Yep.
Missed the free throw, and that's going to be one you really want to have back.
Yep.
Up the court in a hurry, Haverland missed the easy bunny. Zimmerman to Persinger, pulls up, wing three, airballed. 1:10 in third quarter, and just flying was Allender.
The bad shot leads to a transition opportunity for the Cougars, and they get back to what they did in the first half.
Slowing it down now is the Chargers. I mean, that was just a crazy sequence. Poked away by Croman, but the officials are going to say he got too much of the hand on that one.
Foul the Cougars, number 35, Parker Croman, his third, team's third.
For Croman, that's his third foul, so definitely something to keep an eye on. The only player in foul trouble right now, and Croman will take a seat on the bench as Tanner Stern will check in for the Cougars. I think with 54 seconds, you just don't want to pick up a silly fourth here at the end of the third.
Yep.
So 14-point deficit. Persinger kicks it out to Brickner, drives inside, gives it up to Walton underneath, denied by Haverland. And a foul. One of the other Cougars that were underneath. That might be, yep, that'll be Braden Anderson on the foul.
Good job by Josh Walton to corral his own rebound. Goes back up and draws the contact.
He's been a hard worker this afternoon. He's had a difficult defensive matchups on Croman. Missed the first free throw, so he'll get a second chance. Croman coming back in. Be a defense for offense substitution. With 38 seconds, the Cougars will probably want to hold just for last shot, especially with a 14-point lead.
Yeah, as we get into this fourth quarter, be in no hurry.
An 0 for 2 trip by Walton at the free throw line. That's also a category where the Chargers have struggled today.
Yeah, and those are points that they can't really afford to leave on the board if they're going to make a comeback in this game.
2 for 7 as a team. Clock rolling to 15 seconds. Peyton Sears right in front of us, guarded heavily by Trey Brickner, applying the pressure at the eye. Allender gives it up to Haverland. Croman with it, 5 seconds. Nice cut underneath by Allender, poked away. Chargers have it, 2-1 on the clock. Halfway, wow, that was almost in from half court. I believe that was Persinger.
Yeah, Persinger had a little more time than he realized. Gavin Walder was up ahead of him for a pass, kind of put his hands on his head when Persinger put up the shot. But in that third quarter, I think the Chargers did some things well that they weren't doing in the second quarter, but still not able to gain any ground as they trail by 14 heading into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good third quarter for Peoria Christian. It was their most productive. They scored 14 points. They had 12 in the first quarter, but only 4 in the second. And really, when you look back in this one, whether you win or lose, you're going to look at that 4-point second quarter performance and you're going to be like, wow, that's just not like us, you know?
Yeah, that performance really put the Chargers behind the 8 ball. I also think that they shot themselves in the foot a couple of times in that third quarter because I think they played, 6 or 7 minutes of that quarter. They were the better team, but there were just a couple of times where they took a bad shot and they, kind of broke down and allowed transition basket for the Cougars. Parker Croman was big again in that third quarter. He's up to 18 points on the night. But you had, 1 or 2 plays underneath on an inbound where they got an easy bucket, then 1 or 2 bad shots that allowed them transition baskets, and those kind of killed your runs.
You just look at the efficiency for Eastland in this game. Through 3 quarters, they're shooting 19 of 31 from the field, 61%. In between Allender and Croman, they are 15 of 19. It just doesn't get more efficient than that, Wesley.
Yeah, Eastland almost doubling Peoria Christian's field goal percentage. Peoria Christian only shooting 35.3% from the field, and they're 20% from 3. That's been a huge story in this ballgame.
You can't forget about Peyton Spears. I mean, you might say he's quiet today scoring-wise, just the 4 points, but he's doing everything else that isn't putting up points. He's got 5 rebounds and 7 assists, and that's really been his MO the whole year. Just a guy that can do everything. His regular season, 524 points, 202 rebounds, and 123 assists. That's really a great sign of a dominant point guard.
Yeah, and that's been the MO of Spears, and really this entire team is just that selflessness. And you know that everybody on that Eastland bench has so much appreciation for what Spears is doing, even if people don't, look at the box score and see that he had 25 points. His entire team knows how key he is to this team, being their best defender, being the guy who really held Malachi Persinger in check in the first half.
Peoria Christian cut the lead to as low as 8 in that third quarter, but Eastland did a good job of recovering late in the third to get it back to a 14-point lead. Now Croman, guarded by Walton, kicks it out. Anderson in the corner is Allender. He'll reset it at the State Farm Center logo. 7:45 to decide who moves on to the Class 1A state title game. And Allender looked like he threw that one out of bounds. So a quick turnover for the Cougars, as they did start the third quarter.
Likely what the Chargers will need is a couple of turnovers, a couple of errors from the Cougars, and then to be able to capitalize on those errors.
Both teams even, 9 turnovers each. Faked a ball screen to Persinger, ball handoff I should say, was Jacob Walton. Persinger gives it up Walder, he's got an open look, left it short, no good. Rebound to Spears, his 6th. Coming up and down the court, has a pivot foot, guarded heavily by Walder. Has to kick it out to Croman. Backs it out. Croman on Walton. Now it's Allender. 7 minutes remaining. Allender on Josh Walton. Now it's Sears. And really, there's just no urgency from this Eastland team. A team that once held the ball for 7 minutes in their sectional title game. Here's Croman driving on the inside. He got hacked by, I believe, Persinger.
That's a really hard foul from Persinger. Maybe a little bit of frustration with his team's struggles so far in this game.
On the Chargers, number 1.
I'm going to say it was a shooting foul.
His second, team's first.
For Persinger, that's his second foul. So Persinger, Brickner, Walder, and Josh Walton. So 4 of their 5 starters playing with 2 fouls each right now as Curlman knocks in the first free throw.
You know, an aspect of this game that's not negligible is the free throw line. It makes 5 for 5 from Eastland at the line and 2 for 7 from Peoria Christian. So, you know, around 10 points there. 5 points left on the board by Peoria Christian, and Eastland has not left points on the board.
Curlman missed the second one. Yeah, it's just that 5-point difference. You know, it's just when you see it on the scoreboard, I think can really magnitude it more than what it seems like when you just talk about it.
Yeah.
6:27 here in the fourth quarter. Walder inside on the Big Ten logo. Josh Walton could not get the layup to go. Knocked out of bounds. Jacob Walton tried to get the rebound, but a Cougar got a paw on it. It was a great drive by Josh Walton. Just could not finish, and it's one of those days for Walton. 1 for 4 from the field. Brickner trying to go inside, up and under, denied. Haverland. He's had a lot of blocks this afternoon.
He's been huge for the Cougars on the defensive end, and you like the idea from Trey Brickner trying to get to the paint, but there's just too much size and too much traffic in there on that drive.
Cougars have 7 blocks as a team. Persinger's 3, no good. And there's Haverland with the rebound. Now Sears kicks it out to Stern. Now it's Allender, guarded by Walton. 5:55 remaining in the fourth. Allender takes it in. Nice Euro step, could not finish. Rebound by Walder. Here comes the Chargers. Persinger with it, gives it to Walder. Top of the key, guarded by Allender. Walder inside, turns around, got the bucket.
That was a tough finish there from Walder. Turnaround basket in the paint.
Chargers will take a timeout as they trail 13 here in the fourth. It's getting to be desperation time, Wesley. You know, you see Eastland holding on to the basketball for long periods of time. You're playing, and really, when you get on defense, it kind of wears you out too, because it's not like they're just holding the ball. They're going inside. They're making it look like they're going to try and get a bucket. Sometimes maybe they are, maybe they're not.
Yeah, the clock is the friend of the Cougars, and you know that they have the ability to hold the ball for a long period because, like what we talked about, it's Pecatonica holding it for 7 minutes. You know, there are some teams at the high school level that that aren't able to take care of the ball well enough to just hold the ball for that long. But this is not one of those teams. You're really going to have to get out there with that pressure to force turnovers from Eastland because they are going to be in no hurry.
5:38 to decide who will play Chicago Hope Academy on Saturday for the Class 1A title. Loser will take on Effingham tomorrow morning for the third place game. And both these teams, they've made trips to state, but neither of them have finished higher than fourth. For Peoria Christian, it was 2004 when they finished fourth, and for Eastland, they finished fourth both years in 2010 and 2013.
These are a couple of programs that have been successful in the regular season and just generally, been respected programs, but ones that want to get over the hump and get a state title.
Could be Eastland's first state tournament win in program history. Still a lot left to be decided at the 5.5-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Allender gives it up to Stern. Bounce pass down low. Gives it up. Havlander, nice job. Wow, I mean, you don't see mid-range game anymore, but especially when it's off the glass. It's back up to a 15-point advantage for the Cougars. Havlander has been great defensively. Comes up with a big bucket there on offense. Now Brickner down low. Swatted away once again. Havlander. Here's Spears with it. Guarded by Brickner. Nice Euro step off the glass. Got it.
Really nice take from Spears. Just got all the way to the bucket. A few defenders kind of played an Olay defense, but nobody stepped up and stopped him.
Here's a corner three from Brickner. Left it short. Offensive rebound, Josh Walton. Brickner, three-pointer again. Another miss, and Brickner 0 for 5 from three-point range. Arguably the best three-point shooter on this Charger team.
Yeah, they've had the looks, just haven't gotten them to go down. Only 4 made threes in this game.
Yeah, as a team, 4 for 24. 23-point misses has been to the demise of Peoria Christian. That's knocked out of bounds, but it'll stay with Eastland 4:08 here in the fourth quarter. Brickner will take a seat on the bench as Jacob Walton will check back in.
Yeah, I mentioned the 4 3-point baskets, but it's really about the efficiency. Looking at Eastland, they only have 2 3-point baskets, but that's out of 9 attempts versus 24 attempts.
They've done their damage in the paint as Croman does it again on the inbounds.
Whether it's been at the 28-foot mark or underneath, Eastland has had a lot of really good inbound plays to get easy baskets.
Their largest lead of the afternoon, 51-32. Walter gives it up to Walton. His floater's good.
Good find inside there.
Or really, I should say a mountain to climb for Peoria Christian. Defensive stops will have to turn into offensive playmaking. There's a foul by Miles Zimmerman. Stops the clock at 3:31, and that'll take us to the final TV timeout here at the State Farm Center. We'll send it to a quick break and be right back after these messages.
$7 with promo code SAVE7. Available on thin or original crust. Order online or in the app. It's not crazy, it's Casey's. Country Financial is proud to support the IHSA Boys Basketball State Championships. Country Financial makes insurance easy. Worry less and feel more confident.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
And welcome back on ClutchSportsIL.com. Today's coverage of the IHSA State Boys Basketball Tournament. Still in the 1A session between Peoria Christian and Eastland. 2A will soon follow, including our next coverage of Manual taking on Chicago Diet at 3:45. And you know, this game, it's been really all Eastland, Wesley, a 51-34 lead. They're 3.5 away from closing out a trip to Class 1A. But for Peoria Christian, no matter what happens, they still got to be proud of the season that they put together.
Yeah, it's really been a storybook season for the Chargers, 28-9. It's still a lot to be proud of.
Here's the inbound to Allender all the way across the court, guarded by Zimmerman. Working around in the paint, nice find down low was Haverland, could not connect on the basket. Here comes Peoria Christian, Persinger to Walder, back to Persinger on the right side, wing. His three-point shot, left it short, offensive rebound, no good on the putback. Walton once again could not get the second chance. Walder, three-point shot, no good. And finally, the ball goes out of bounds as Persinger tried to save the possession once again, but it'll be Eastland basketball. So about 3 or 4 different chances right there, Wesley. And it's just been one of those days where Peoria Christian came up short.
Yeah, that possession really summed up the day it's been for them. Open looks, good shots, shots rimming out, multiple opportunities, couldn't get any shots to go down.
Allender, nice spin move underneath. Dished it back out to Croman. Sears near half court, guarded by Walton. Tried to pickpocket him, but Sears just took up the open lane for the basket. 53-34, 2:28 to play in the fourth quarter. That basket no good. Another offensive rebound, fighting for it is Josh Walton. Gavin Walder wide open, top of the key, rattles around, no good. Staying with Peoria Christian. And for Walder, I mean, he doesn't miss many of those.
No, and just more, kind of an embodiment of the struggles as we have a timeout from Eastland. We have full timeout. Just the struggles on the offensive end. Persinger gets a good look at a layup there. And off the backboard, goes right, into the basket, then rims out. And they get the second chance, kick it to Walder. He's got a wide open three, and that doesn't go for him. It's a performance that's really just not indicative of the season that Peoria Christian has had. They're such a good offensive team, and they just haven't had it tonight.
Yeah, just not their night. But, Coach Jason Persinger was really excited to watch his team playing this game because it's the bigger court. He thought it would help spread things out for his offense, for a team that's really explosive, likes to shoot the three, get in transition. And they've played on bigger courts before. They played at the Shirk, at Illinois Wesleyan, and then at Eureka College as well. But I think a big difference that me and you talked about pregame was how Peoria Christian's super sectional game was played at Jacksonville's court. That's a high school court. However, Eastland, they played in DeKalb at Northern Illinois' court. So they played a game before on the college-size court. So you could wonder if Eastland came in maybe a little bit more prepared, just the recency of playing on a bigger court. It's a debate many people talk about when it comes to playoff time is how do some teams play on the bigger court in the postseason leading up to the state tournament and some don't. I mean, I think it's definitely one to wonder who had the advantage with this one, as that one's thrown away by Zimmerman and another turnover by the Chargers.
Yeah, that's something you talked about earlier, the depth perception, just playing in the bigger stadium, and as well as the bigger court, probably play to the advantage of Eastland.
Croman receives the inbound. He's guarded by Walder, picked out from behind. Now Walton grabs it to Persinger. At the Big Ten logo, Brickner, top of the key, three ball, no good. Rebound by Eastland. Brickner, 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. Excuse me, now 0 for 7. The live stats just updated. Ball on the ground. Spears throws it away to Allender. Spins around, kicks it out to Stern. Now Croman has it. 1:33 remains in this matchup. And there's a foul as Peoria Christian is just going to do every option they can to try and to extend their season.
The Chargers have been able to force a couple of turnovers as of late, but just haven't been able to convert on the offensive end off of those turnovers.
Both teams with 10 turnovers each. Peoria Christian did a better job of protecting the basketball here in the second half. Walder on Allender, tried pickpocketing him again. Picks up his dribble at the elbow. Now Croman with it at midcourt. Allender and Croman going back and forth. Now get Haverland in the mix. Clock down to 1:05. Allender dishes it. Just a lot of the same for the Cougars, just throwing it around the court. And you can hear the Eastland crowd getting excited, sensing a Class 1A state title championship game on Saturday.
One of the things Tyler Zumdahl talked about coming into this game was taking care of the ball and not giving Peoria Christian extra possessions. I know they've had a few turnovers as of late, but generally in this game they've really taken care of the basketball, and we're even seeing it now as they're running out the clock, being able to keep possession, not turning it over.
A full line shift for the Cougars as Wyatt Carroll comes in along with Harper Kime, stolen away by Zimmerman. His layup, no good, but he was fouled, so he'll get free throws. On the court for Eastland, as I said, Wyatt Carroll, Maddox Spears, Braden Jackson, Perry Stoner, and Harper Kine. We'll see if Persinger will want to empty his bench and take out his starters. You know, one for about 2 reasons for that. Not only do you get your bench guys that, you know, they put in the work all season long, they get to step on the court, be a part of the game, but also you want to give your seniors one final send-off too.
Yeah, and you know that you've got to have a great program to make it to a point like this, and even if these guys, Eastland's going to call a timeout here, want to make sure they don't turn the ball over, but you've got to have great guys up and down the program, even if they're not the guys who are showing up in the box score. You know, it's about your culture. It's about the guys that your starters are playing against in practice. You know that Coach Zumdahl has a lot of appreciation for even the guys who aren't getting a lot of playing time for him because he knows that they're a key part still of the program.
Eastland features a really good junior class. Parker Croman, one of them, along with Braden Anderson and Haverland. So they'll definitely be back next year. For Peoria Christian, I mean, it's going to be a hard day for those seniors, but at least they get the comfort knowing that they'll have one more game with each other, and that'll be tomorrow morning. Those seniors, especially Malachi Persinger, Gavin Walder, Josh Walton, 3 of the foundation for this Chargers team, but good news for the Chargers, Trey Brickner and Jacob Walton will be back, as well as Miles Zimmerman. So some key pieces definitely going to return for Peoria Christian. Clock down to 35 seconds. Looks like they want to run a play, see if they can get one of their bench guys in to score a point, and they did. Perry Stoner gets in the box score.
And the bench and the student section erupting for Stoner. Love to see him get that bucket.
Up to a 20-point lead as Zimmerman shoots the 3, no good. Josh Walton tried to go for the offensive rebound. Jacob gets it instead. Both them missed their second chance opportunities. Walder puts up the 3, 2 on the clock, 1, rebound Eastland, and the Eastland Cougars dominate the Class 1A semifinal over Peoria Christian by a score of 55-35.
Such an impressive performance from Eastland. It's really the defense that I think won the game for Eastland, and you know, whether it's Peoria Christian coming out cold or the defense, probably a combination of the two, but that's, you know, the best part of their game is their defensive effort, with Peyton Spears leading the way, being able to hound the other team's guards, and they hold Peoria Christian to 14 of 53 from the field for just 26.4%. They only got 4 out of 29 attempts from 3.
The defense of the Cougars proved to be strong. It was a talking point for Coach Zumdahl, and he backed it up with his team's performance today. Peoria Christian, a great offense, held to just 35 points. And you got to look at some of these performances by the Cougars. Parker Croman goes for 21 points, 9 of 10 from the field, and Adam Allender 17. But for Peoria Christian, they take the loss today, and it was just a hard one to watch for these star players of the Chargers. Persinger held scoreless in the first half, had 10 points in the third quarter, but then held scoreless again in the fourth. Gavin Walder finished his game with 10 points, but had 8 of that just in the first quarter. So it just wasn't a game where Peoria Christian could find any rhythm. I mean, it goes back to say that defense was just really stout by Eastland.
Yeah, this Peoria Christian team, you know, has so much star power, and this game really didn't represent what they're able to do as a team, but I still think it's a season that this team will be really proud of. You know, all these stars up and down the lineup, even though the shots weren't falling tonight. Really impressive season getting to the State Farm Center.
And so Peoria Christian will play tomorrow against Effingham, the loser in the first game to Chicago Hope Academy. Peoria Christian and Effingham tomorrow morning at 9:30 for the Class 1A third place game. And Eastland will move on to Saturday for the Class 1A state title game against Chicago Hope Academy, a team they have played earlier in the regular season and beat. So that should be an interesting one. For Wesley Stombaugh and myself, Owen Dempfel, thank you for tuning in to Clutch Sports IL for today's semifinal matchup between Peoria Christian and Eastland. Don't go anywhere. We will have two-way coverage of Manual and Chicago Diet at 3:45. Stay tuned, folks.